one of the exciting moments we had when we went to Canada for the first time. You know, we had a huge lineup of interviews. I mean, I think we did 12 interviews when we were there, which was amazing, in a week's time. So my job was to try to find a way that we were going to cram all these in every day, you know, and then work with their schedule, and when we're going to get there, go here, go there, go here.
People didn't come to us.
No, yeah, we went to them.
We went to wherever they were.
And so one of the interviews we had was Gar Hamilton, and toward that evening. And so we get to where he's at his club, and we interviewed him, and that was it for the day. Well, you were adamant about wanting to go to the Hall of Fame, the Golf Canada's Hall of Fame. But I was kind of like, well, you know, and, you know, I think they're getting ready to close, and you're like, it's just right here. I want to go see it, because you didn't think you was going to get a chance to see it. Right. Okay, we'll swing over there and see if we can get in there and look at the Hall of Fame. Because we had planned on going over there eventually and doing some B-roll of it, you know. And so we show up right before they close, and we barge in and going, can we see the Hall of, you know, walk in real quick. And they kind of knew about we were there. And so that's when we meet Megan Gardner. She was the one that, you know, runs the Hall of Fame there. Well, she's like, yeah, sure, come on in. So we're walking around looking at everything. His bag is there, and all this memorabilia about Moe and other greats of the Canadian golf era. And she starts talking about Moe and all these facts about Moe. Did you know about this? Did you know about that? And me and Barry kind of give it kind of a look at each other, and I think Barry's the one who's like,
we got to interview her.
Yeah, we're like, we got to interview her. And we're like, and she wasn't on our list. So it was like, can we come back tomorrow? Are you available? Can we interview you? And she was like, yeah, sure. I have to
get a babysitter. I have to do this, but I'm going to do it. She wanted to help. And when we went in there, we were thinking, maybe we aren't welcome here for some reason. I mean, we just didn't know what to expect. Right. The red carpet wow.
And so then she takes us. She goes, do you guys want to go see the archives? We're like, yeah, sure.
No, we don't want to see that.
Of course not, yeah. So we go down there, and we're just kind of looking at the film crew that was there. As we're walking around, once again, me and Barry kind of glances at each other, and it was like, so is it possible we can come back another time and maybe go through all this? Just, you know, you never know. You always got to ask. You never know. Yeah, sure, you know, come on out. So that's the beginning of this next trip we take to Canada.
They describe this Indiana Jones moment, you know, the end of the first Raiders of the Lost Ark movie, where they're going into the big warehouse full of all the artifacts. That's what it felt like walking down into this basement of just rolls and rolls of film and shelves of tapes of like every tournament that they've ever, you know, hosted, and pictures and trophies and clubs. And I mean, it was just a treasure trove of you know, Moe material. We were kids at a candy store, and we spent a week.
Yeah, spent a week going
camping out in their basement, just going through every single thing.
And Megan was a huge help as well.
Yeah.
She was pulling out everything that she can find on their database of Moe. Like, she threw a whole box. Todd was there. He started just pulling everything out of this box. From, we were going through rolls and rolls of film. You were going through digital videos and DVDs, and so was I.
Well, one of the things that I just remember was their whiteboard, their motivational board was Moe.
Yeah, that was up where the people, the Golf Canada,
the staff
worked. When she took us up there. Yeah. And so we go up there, and everybody's desks and all their little cubicles and offices that are at, and they got this huge whiteboard, and on it is Moe. That's what they had on there. No one else but Moe.
I've done, you know, worked on a lot of documentaries. Going in and finding archives is it's always difficult. They're almost always very tentative about having you in their stuff, in their space. And they're usually like, we'll set you up in a conference room, and we'll bring things to you one by one. You know, and you can photograph them and whatever, but, you know, they can't leave. You know, but Megan and the whole crew there were just like, come in, just set up down here in the basement where everything is. Here's where the 70s tournaments are. You know, those are the ones you're probably going to want to look through. Here's these tapes.
What I thought was so interesting to me when you were going, you're cleaning film. I mean, you're going through the whole thing.
We had our white gloves on. It was everything we were doing
through it, and we're seeing little seconds of Moe here and there. And what fascinated me was you'd see Arnold Palmer and then Jack Nicklaus. You'd see these really Sam Snead, famous players. Some of them, they're playing with Moe sometimes, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is footage that no one's ever going to see ever again if we don't do something with it. It was just amazing.
It was a treasure hunt, and we found gold.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the cool thing.
Yeah.
We found gold, and a lot of nuggets that nobody's heard or seen and won't until we finish.
And it didn't even stop there. When we wrapped up, then Kevin Thistle up at CPGA, we went up there.
The same red carpet, just rolling out.
We pulled up. They said, come in here. We brought our projector in, and we went through some film there. So it was just amazing to have just, all that support for this documentary.
Then when you got back, so you get back, and I wasn't there for the whole trip, and you came back and you reported to me, and you said, "Oh, by the way, you should see this footage that Ann Pick showed us. That was stuff shot for the King of Swing video that they never used.
Yeah,
and there was 16 hours of Moe Norman stuff, and you're like, you got to look at this stuff. And so then, I mean, how about that?
That experience when you told me to swing by Ann's. And it was toward the end of that trip, we'd already and so it was kind of like, okay, let's see what she's got, And so we go in there and we sit down, and she comes out and she's got her laptop, and at that time it was me and Keenan and Spencer, the crew that was there. Barry had already left; he had to go, so it was like our last day there. And so she starts going through this on her laptop, and she starts going through where he's in.
This is stuff she was going to throw away. This was stuff that was heading for the trash.
She was saying, yes, that's right. She was like, I was getting ready to throw this away. I'm kind of cleaning things out, and I'm thinking, do I really need these anymore? And then she kind of went, well, I guess maybe I should reach out and see if anybody. And she kind of did some of that. No one seemed to care at that time that seemed to want it. But she finally got a hold of Todd, and Todd was like, well, yeah, let us check it out. And so, yes, when he told me, go by and check out this footage. And when she starts going through this footage and the things that I was seeing of Moe, because that's the thing is when you do a documentary, Moe's no longer alive. So it's not like we can go and capture footage of Moe doing his thing, just even outside of golf. We do have clinics and we do have some interviews of Moe, but that's that's all we have of him. But we don't have him eating at a restaurant. We don't have him laying in his hotel that he stayed in all his entire life. We don't have him checking out the back of his Cadillac with all his stuff. We hear about it. We have even kind of a photo of it, but we don't have it. And we don't have him then in the car driving around and going to his house where he grew up and doing all that.
One of the things that I got from all that was because when I spent time with Moe, that personal experience when I'd hang out with him and things, that's what this footage is hanging out with Moe. So you get to see the guy, not just hitting golf balls.
It was Moe. And she had all that.
Yeah.
And so, you should see our faces at that time of.
I mean, up to this point, we thought we knew what most of the footage that existed for Moe was. And also up to when King of Swing was made, King of Swing became the definitive documentary about Moe Norman. And so we had seen, we had gone through the movie, and so we knew what was there, but we had no idea that there was still
we didn't know what wasn't there.
Right, exactly.
And every film, every documentary you shoot anywhere from a 10 to maybe 100 to 1 shooting ratio. Yeah. If they had 16 hours and the show was an hour, that means they shot at least a 16 to 1 ratio. That means there's 15 hours of footage that nobody has seen and never will if it's tossed. Right. We have it.
We have it. Yeah. So we have that now.
And thankfully Ann reached out, and she was great. She's been very supportive, so that's been great.
Yeah, it was great meeting her and her husband, and getting all that was huge to this documentary.
There will never be a documentary like this about.
And it goes with like I said, the amount of support that has come along the way, and everybody it's more, and we just keep, and that's what's been a really amazing part for me was experiencing that, because we have to always worry about what we're going to have and what can we do to make this film interesting and entertaining and you just can't have talking heads for 90 minutes. People get bored with that, and so you got to have other things to have that. So when you start having Golf Canada and the CPGA and then Ann and there's been others. We have people that we did do a little of an email reach out for anybody who has their own footage.
Herb Holscheider gave us some great footage.
We have some film of him. We've had some other mini DV tapes people have sent in that we are trying to find ways of using, and so that's been really a great experience and a great thing to have is that people are doing that for us.
And because of that, the scope of what we originally imagined this documentary would be has changed. Because originally we thought it was going to be, we were really worried about like how do we cover, 90 minutes of talking heads. Like we know we're going to have as many interviews as we need, but how do we cover that? And slowly, we started finding Archival, and it was like, all right, we get to cover it. But then we hit the Motherlode with the King of Swing, source material, and all of a sudden we have hours of interviews with Moe, hours of interviews with other people, hours of him driving around and just doing his day-to-day thing. All of a sudden, it goes from being a 90-minute talking head documentary to slices of life and what people's thoughts about him. And now we've got into like how do we tell the stories of the footage we don't have, his early life, some of the early tournament stuff. So we've started to talk about reenactments. We've started to talk about producing animation for those bits of the stories. So now we're in that phase of
the highly creative aspect of it.
Right. How do we build this out? How do we build this into a world that is its own thing, a documentary that people haven't seen before.
That's what we got you for.
Yeah. That's what we got you for.
Yeah. And Barry, it's
and look, I mean, there are different stylistic choices. Moe is this really amorphous figure that's hard to get your hands around. So I think it's just a straightforward approach is just not going to reflect the character and so we're batting around a lot of ideas. We want to make it visually fun, interesting, appeal to young people.
Well, just think about what we just looked at today, because we just were looking at stuff and we just saw Moe alone in his hotel room reading a book. Looks so lonely to me. Yeah. And then you see him on the range doing a clinic in front of 100 people, and he's just striking away. I mean, it's just like these two different sides.
Well, it's night and day, literally.
Night and day, right.
Yeah. Because as someone said, when the sun went down, Moe was the loneliest man on the planet. Yeah. But with a golf club in his hand and on a sunny day, even a really sunny day, he was the happiest man, and he couldn't be dissuaded from it. The reason we've gotten this welcome wagon, approach to everything is they love Moe. It's not us. We're trying our best. We're doing this like real filmmakers, but we have access because of him.
Yeah, people really want to see this movie made, and not be, again, like I said, not because we're making it, but because we are passionate about telling the story, and they see that, and they really, truly want to see Moe's story up on the big screen again.
Well, just also, as we've been going through the interviews, we've had some that weren't for sure what we were doing, and if we were going to be doing it the right way and doing it justice to Moe, and because we had some interviews we were trying to reach out to, and then once they met us and they saw what we were doing and how we are passionate about Moe and trying to tell his story the right way, and they totally opened arms, giving us hugs and extremely supportive.
Well, and making phone calls so we could interview somebody else that we didn't even know. Yeah.
There's been several people, we won't name names, but several that have kind of blown us off or turned us down, and then we interviewed a friend of theirs, right, who then calls and is like, "You got to talk to these guys. Right, they are the real deal."
And then when they do meet us and they see us, they okay, yeah. I mean, and then it's like, wow. So that's been nice as well. Is that and I understand where they're coming from. Who are these guys making a movie about documentary about Moe, and are they really doing it the right way? And because people are protective of Moe, people who knew Moe, who were around him, they are protective of him, Even though he's passed on, they're still protective of him. And that's all they were doing. They were just wanting to make sure that we were thinking about Moe, and when they realized that, they were very excited, very supportive, all on, and then, like I said, reaching out and trying to help us out.
But we've also said to people, don't be afraid of saying something that might sound critical of Moe. Yeah. We want warts and all. We want to know the real man.
The good and the bad.
Yeah. And there's not much bad to say about Moe.
No.
But, he created a lot of awkward situations for people, family members too.
A lot of that was just Moe. Once you got to know him, you realize that was just, you can't take offense to some of those things because that's just Moe.